Hey guys, how are you doing? Today we're talking about recruitments. And if you're wondering why the fuck I make a recruitment video in 2024, it's because I made the tier list video. I made many guides in the past. And right now, my videos are getting recommended to various new players in the game. And since I want to make the game as accessible as possible for any new player, I felt like I want to have a high quality up-to-date video with everything you need to know about recruitments. So in case you're a veteran player and you already know everything there is to know about recruitments, there will likely be no more new information for you to know in this video. But if you still want to support the channel, you can just leave the video running to not decrease the average view time. Other than that, I appreciate just clicking on the video. And for the new players, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you have been enjoying Arknights, and today we're gonna look at everything there is to know about recruitment. The recruitment mechanic is one of the most important mechanics for you to understand, because with the help of it, you can get 4 stars, 5 stars and 6 stars if you're doing them right. First, let's look at the options that you have when you want to do a recruitment. If we click on recruit now, you see that we have a timer. This timer you can set between 1 hour and 9 hours. And the advantage of this is, if we increase it, you can check on the right side with possible rarity that it goes up the higher I set it. And as soon as I hit 7 hours and 40 minutes, we reach 3 stars, 4 stars and 5 stars. Usually in older videos, it was recommended that if you want to do recruitments and you don't select any tags, you go with this. At the moment of time, I would say this is wrong. I would never recommend to do it to 7 hours 40 minutes. We don't know right now if it increases the chance of getting a 5 star if you have a higher time count. But in the end, we recommend now, since it doesn't cost any LMD anymore, just set it to 9 hours. Especially if you're a new player, you want to select tags, regardless how far you are in the game. Selecting tags is always better. The reason why I say this is because if you select tags, you can fill out the holes you have in your team combination. For example, you might be missing Vanguards, so the best thing for you to do in recruitments is to select the Vanguard tag, so you have a chance to get possible 4 stars and 5 star Vanguards if you're missing some of these. Even if you're in mid or end game, selecting tags is still usually better. For example, I can go on my Astasia, right? She's a day 1 character, she came out when the game first released, and I've been playing the game for a long time. I am still missing a potential of her, so I would have a huge benefit for just selecting a random guard tag all the time, that's why I eventually get that potential upgrade. Back in the day, recruitments cost LMD, but that is not the thing anymore, and that is why I would recommend to always select tags, because why not use the option to get a max pot of all the characters you have, rather than just like hoping for random and get thousands of dupes that you already had max pot beforehand. But likely most of you that are still here want to learn how I can increase the chance of getting a 4, 5 and possibly a 6 star. First, if I set it to 9 hours and select supporter, now I've increased my chances to get at least 5 stars and 4 stars. But likely I will just end up with a 3 star. That is because there are tag combinations and certain tags that either guarantee you 4 stars or possibly even 5 stars. 6 stars can only be obtained with a certain tag that is called top operator. It's also orange lit. You will not miss it once you see it. So the way you increase your odds of getting 4, 5 and 6 stars is by actually going to the base. If your base is still very underleveled and you're very new to the game, likely it doesn't look like this. But what you need to upgrade is the office. If you upgrade the office, you will get an option that you likely not have at the moment, and this is refreshing recruitments. And that is super strong. I have now nothing here. Now I can use this, spend 1 refresh attempt, and there is now a chance I get better tags. Obviously the chances aren't too high, you would expect to get good tags every 1 in 5 tries. But still, you can give it a try, and with that maybe we get lucky. And as fate would have it, we didn't. None of these tags that you see here actually give me a higher chance of getting a 4 or 5 star. But how do I know this? Well, let me clarify one thing. Recruitment isn't easy, and most of us actually use a third-party website, which is either called GamePress or A-Ships. Both of these have a calculator that we can use to check if there are actually 4 or 5 stars. And if we look at the tags that we have right now, which are Sniper, Caster, Range, Starter and DP Recovery. So if we're inputting the tags that we have, for example Sniper, we can see, oh wow, if I select Sniper and set it to 9 hours, I have the chance to get all of these, beside Rangers and Justice Knights, because it is not possible to get 1 and 2 stars, as we saw before in this tab. You can see we can only get, if we set it to 9 hours, we can only get 3, 4, and 5 stars. And so if you want to get 1 and 2 stars, obviously you can't set it to 9 hours. The advantage is though, if you set it to 9 hours, there's a very high chance the tags that we select won't randomly disappear, or also known as drop off. So if I select sniper now and set it to 9 hours, it's likely just gonna stay there up until time is over. It still has a chance to drop off, but the chance is very low. So if I fully input all the tags that we have, which is sniper, then we select next one, we check class because we have caster. We see here caster. Next we have ranged, that is a position, so we can click on ranged. And then starter, which we have in qualification, and TP recovery in ethics. We can now see that none of these tags actually give us anything good. So most likely if we select the TP recovery, we get any of these. Not too amazing. But what if, for example, we had tags like healer, sniper, melee, and then, for example, DP recovery and AoE. Now we can suddenly see, wait, if I use healing and DP recovery together to 9 hours, I have a chance to get Myrtle. And Myrtle is possibly one of the best operators you can get from the recruitment in general. Myrtle is insanely strong, and if you need any Vanguard, Myrtle is your go-to pick. If you haven't leveled her and you just started off the game, Myrtle is likely the best Vanguard you can level, especially because she's also very cheap and one of the best ones to give you DP in the game. And that is why it is so important that you actually select the type of things that you need. I was missing when I started off the game casters for a long time. The best thing I could have done, which I didn't do, is just set it to 9 hours and select caster. If I have this all the time, at one point I will get 4 and 5 star casters. And if we go now to the website again and check what kind of casters are even possible to be obtained from the recruitments, I can see, oh my god, wait, Click is obtainable. Click is an insanely good caster, a cheap one to level as well. You can also see what kind of tags Click would listen to. So you see crowd control. Crowd control is a tag that if you have it, it guarantees you without any combinations that you get a 5 or a 4 star. There is more combinations like this. For example, Nuker. Nuker is also very good, because with that you can get Cutter. And Cutter again is a very good operator in the beginning to level. There's also, for example, Support, which don't confuse it with Supporter. Supporter is the class, and Support is also an ethics, for example, something they can do. And if you have Support, you know, hey, you have a guaranteed 4 star. But here we have something unique. Unlike any other gacha games, there is a few low rarity operators that are very rare to get, which makes no sense. But getting 1 stars is very nice, especially because they have very unique use as well in the game. And for them, as I previously mentioned, if you set it to 9 hours, you cannot get 1 stars. So what you want to do is, if you for example want a 1 star, you can select it to sniper, you can set it to like 3 hours and 50 minutes. Now you can see that you can still get 4 stars, but there's also a chance you can get a 1 star. And if I set it to 4 hours already, 1 stars are not possible anymore. And if we check out what kind of operator we can get if we select the sniper tag, we can see, wow, wait a second, we can get Justice Knight. And while those 1 stars aren't that broken, they have one niche ability, which is ignore the deployment limit. So if a stage has a deployment limit of, let's just say, 7 units, you can deploy maximum 7 units on this stage. You can still deploy this 1 star because it ignores that deployment limit. But in general, if you're newer to the game, I recommend you to not hunt for these at the beginning, because in the end they are in fact very niche, and they will not help you making progress in the game. So to summarize briefly what you learned, is that if you want a high rarity unit, you have to set it to 9 hours. Especially if you want to select a tag. So if I select the sniper, the higher the timer is, the lower the chance is that the tag drops off. The next thing is, you always want to check if there's combinations. There might be combinations that guarantee you a 4 and 5 star, and it would be really sad to miss out on them. Especially because recruitment is really good to also get yellow certs, which you can use to get entire 6 star operators. And obviously you want to check if there's guaranteed 4 and 5 star or 6 star tags in the first place. There's a senior operator and top operator that are guaranteed 5 and 6 stars, they are yellow marked, you won't miss this. But for the 4 stars, as I said, ground control, nuker, support are ones that you can get but that are not marked. and you can easily miss those if you don't even know that they exist. Another thing that is important to mention is that there are certain characters that can only be obtainable by recruitments. One of these, for example, is Arknights. Many don't know this, but for some reason, he's a 3-star. You can only get dupes of him by recruitments. And I think you get 1 dupe from the story. But there's also 4 and 5 stars that are only recruitment obtainable. One of these would be Vulcan. If you click on Defender, Vulcan is only obtainable with like certain tags. The same goes for another character, which is called Indra. Indra is another 5-star that you can only obtain through recruitments. The same goes for Estelle. Estelle is just a 4-star, but even she is very hard to get now and is quite a flex if you have max max potential. I don't know if I leave that in. But yeah, you can get Estelle as well. And yeah, very cool. It's so cool that there's like certain operators that are only obtainable if you do recruitments. And you have an easier time to get them if you do the recruitments right. And the last thing I want to briefly mention is that if you just play the game, you get those expansion plans. And you can use them at any time you want. They're not valuable. The only reason why you would save them like I do is because you want to maybe do an opening or something. And if I open these right now, awesome, I got a random 3-star Stuart. And the cool thing is, if I use those, obviously I have another chance already to see if I maybe got a top operator or senior operator. If you're curious about the rates, I don't think it's 100% confirmed, but I think it's a 25% chance to get a 4-star, a 0.4% chance to get a 5-star, and a 0.2% chance to get a 6-star. So the chance of getting actually something special is very low. But in the end, I think it's a very cool mechanic. It's super hype if actually something pops up, and you will always have some people getting many of them in 1 week, and you're just there waiting for many years to get your first one. But in the end, it's gacha. It's a fun thing. It's gambling without having to spend money. I love it. I think it's cool. And it's your best friend to make quick account progress if you're a new player, especially if you want to finish all the 4-stars and 3-stars from a category, for example, guards or something. It's super nice help for that. But so with that, I think that is everything important for you to know when you're doing recruitments. In the end, it's just use A-ships, use a third-party software. Maybe if you're too lazy for that, try to memorize those guaranteed combinations and tags. And once you memorize them, then you don't need to use the A-ships every single day. Or at least you have like a very rough idea when something is there or when you're unsure about something. So you can save yourself some time. But with that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I would say, have a nice one. I hope it was helpful. And I would say, have a nice one. Bye bye from the side. Have a good one. And see ya.